It feels a lot more friendly, it's a lot more kid-friendly. I feel more comfortable bringing the kids in and not being like shh, shh all the time, trying to keep them quiet, which library should be a place of quiet, but at the same time it gets them the introduction of coming to somewhere like this where they can choose their own books, they can sit in the cafe, they can have a play in the soft play. My small one loves the soft play. And that means that it's more of a welcoming place.
I didn't come to the library before because I'm not actually local, but since coming in I'm really impressed with, I think it's a really nice atmosphere. I think it seems very inclusive, it's welcoming, it's, you know, when you come in you don't feel that you don't necessarily feel you're in a library, I think, because you've got the cafe and everything else, and I think it's a lot more welcoming perhaps than libraries may have been in the past.
It's made it more energised, I think. Definitely seems a bit more family friendly. It's brought more families into the library. It's always busy. When I run my sessions in there, it's been very busy in there. So
there's a lot going on. It's very vibrant at the cafe end of the library, but there's still plenty of people using the library in the quieter areas. And one thing that did worry me initially was the noise that would be created. And it hasn't been created in the way I expected it to be, and it's still quiet enough for people to study.
The library feels more alive now when you walk in.
It's somewhere I can take them where I know I'm going to get good food and they're going to be able to have play. My older daughter likes to get books from the kids section and sit in the library, sit in the cafe and read them. So she'll have her lunch and the other day she had a pile of books to read whilst we're having lunch and a pile of books to take home with her. And the small one was in the soft play having a wonderful time and keeps him occupied. So it's the best of both for me.
The play cafe is a nice safe space, and it seems like it's becoming quite a focal hub for people with the events that are on. And my mum's come over with her grandchildren to use the play cafe. I think it's given a nice focal point, a nice kind of safe space for families to come along and to then kind of almost covertly get them into the library so that then they can engage with the wider area of the library and you know, start to get into reading and books.
Little ones loved it. It was a great addition to have somewhere that they could have a snack, a drink and play, and I could come with a friend to meet up and we could watch them, and it's quite small, and that's quite nice because obviously a lot of the soft plays are, you know, quite big and you've got bigger kids running around, and it's nice to come in term time where you know that pretty much you're going to be guaranteed the small ones, so it's quite safe to let them just get in and explore on their own, so that's been really nice. It's good because then you can go afterwards, you can go off and get your books and you can do that reading time, and there's always that incentive, let's read some books and then we'll go and play. So I think for some children who maybe wouldn't necessarily want to sit and read, like they might do that because then they know they're going to go and play. It's different, I've not come across it before. I like the idea of it with the books there and the bench part at the back with the dressing up as well. My little girl loves that.
There is still a feeling of being able to go and get a book and sit down with it, but there is also a liveliness about it which I think has been brought by having the cafe there.
We come a lot more, so before we'd come, when we first moved here, so we moved here about 5 years ago, and we came to the library then before it had been refurbished, got a few books out, but then kind of didn't grab us as a place to go. Then after the refurbishment was done, I said, oh, library's reopened, let's go and have a look. And it's amazing with the cafe and the things to do. And so we've actually started coming nearly every weekend. And then the events that FOLIO have been putting on have been amazing. They've been so excellent that it's something that we can do on a weekend. We can plan to say, right, we'll go down the library, we'll do an event, we'll have some lunch, and it makes a day of it.
It's made a huge difference because we used to come to the library quite a bit for story sessions and things, and when I saw that it was looking to close, I was quite shocked because it's in a town centre. It's always seemed to be busy. It seemed crazy that it was going to be closed. For us, it's an accessible library because I don't drive, so for me it's an easy bus into here to Sutton, whereas to get to Erdington it's a half an hour walk, and if it's raining and things we just wouldn't do it, whereas if I can get on the bus and come into Sutton it's great. And my little one, she loves reading. It's saving me money because we buy we were buying so many books, and as she's getting older and she's reading for herself, she's wanting more books all the time, so it's really helped because we can now just come here, we can choose some books, take them home, and she feels like she's a grown-up then and she's got that responsibility. And I think it's a real big difference having it here, and then the benefit of having the activities that you put on as well, and there's been such a broad range. There's been a lot on and you can sort of choose what to do even through the holidays, but outside of the holidays it's been really good.
I would say the main impact on me is on the book group that I run. We were meeting in a pub, which wasn't ideal because it was noisy. The coffee and tea weren't particularly good, but we felt we had to buy a drink in order to take up table space. Once we heard the library was reopened and that it had a cafe, we relocated on a trial basis. We were able to have our discussions in a quiet corner, so we weren't impacted by the noise from the cafe. But after our discussion, we could then go sit in the cafe, enjoy a coffee or a tea and a chat and social time. So it's been great for our book group.
Okay, so I actually ran an event, a children's plant workshop, and that was brilliant. Staff were really supportive, everybody was really friendly and helpful. The children that attended, we were a little bit lower than we thought because we clashed with the football, England football. But the children that did come along seemed to really engage, and it encouraged people to come along to the library, and it was a nice reimagining of the space. I really liked the way that the space was used with the bookshelves being moved back, and then you've got this nice big area. And I've come along to the Pokemon event with my friend and her 13-year-old son today, and that's really nice to see different ages and that different people are engaging in different ways with the activities. And they've not visited before, but they'd like to visit again.
So we went to the Elmer Day events with my 3 children, and it was really lovely. We got to do the crafting. My 6-year-old was really happy because she got to go and do different things. I was able to help my 3-year-old, and the baby slept the whole time, which was really nice. It was a good space. We read some of the stories afterwards. It got us talking about colours and textures, and we actually took them home, which they really liked. So they were able to put them up onto their playroom wall, so they've got the 2 shields that they made on the playroom wall, so that was really nice.
As an author living locally, I was invited to the opening day to give a talk, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I appreciated the facility of being able to talk directly to readers, to take their questions and to take on board their likes and dislikes. And I feel that having author events in the library benefits both us as authors and the readers, and particularly perhaps younger readers who learn that writing is something that they can aspire to do as well. It's not something that's done locked away in a castle somewhere. Anybody can do it, anybody can have a go, and actually being with authors gets that message across. Saving libraries in general is very important. I think obviously it's important for future generations, for our children, so that they learn a love of books, they learn to like reading, because reading is actually the key to everything in life. If you don't pick up a love of books, you don't read in the future, you don't further develop your knowledge, you don't get a broader outlook on life. It's also obviously very important for older people as a meeting place. I know that FOLIO have started a group, the Elderberries, for older people, which helps to give them a focus and a basis for discussion. And I think that the people in the middle of those 2 age groups, the people perhaps with growing families, appreciate a resource where they can come and borrow books for free that would be impossible to buy. You know, if you had to buy every book that your child read from the age of 5 to 16, it would cost a horrendous amount of money. And I think it's very important that libraries remain and they stay free, just to give families the ability to let their children read books freely.
I just hope it keeps going, and I hope that the activities can keep on running, and that you're able to continue to offer it, because I think it's really beneficial for the families, and some families, you know, can't afford to necessarily pay to go and do things, and the fact that you can offer some activities for free or very low cost would really help.
The only thing that I would like to add is to actually pay tribute to Folio and all the work they've done, because I know it's extremely time consuming, and to give up that amount of time voluntarily is a fantastic thing, and what they've achieved is really great. So thank you, Folio.